Hello and welcome to Witness. I'm Raggy Omar. The extraordinary phenomenon of the Olympics is so powerful because it is open to athletes from countries all over the world. At least that's what we're told. But the Beijing Games is not open to all. Not if you're Tibetan and proud of it at any rate. The only way Tibetans can compete in the Beijing Olympics is by renouncing their Tibetan identity and registering as Chinese athletes. Many Tibetans in exile refuse, seeing this as another way in which China suppresses Tibetan identity. So now they've organised their own Olympics, a defiant gesture to mighty China. Tibet's own version of the Olympic Games is held in the foothills of the Himalayas in northern India, where the Dalai Lama and the Tibetan government in exile reside. The other Olympics is a 10-day event consisting of 10 different sporting disciplines, ranging from track events, high jump, archery and swimming. All the competitors are Tibetan and all are amateurs. They must take part in all 10 events, even though in some cases they've never done these sports before. In Nayantara Kotchin's film, we follow two participants, Dorji and Yangchen, as they prepare for and then participate in the other Olympics.
It's spring 2008, and this is the Olympic Games. But not as we know it. The participants here all come from a country which no longer exists. As Tibetans, they are not allowed to take part in the summer's Beijing Olympics in China.
Archers, on your mark. Address.
So here, in northern India, a nation in exile celebrates on its own. This is the other Olympics. This is southern India. It's a few weeks before the Tibetan Olympics. And this is home to one of the participants.
My name is Dorji. I belong to eastern part of Tibet, known as Amdo. I came here in India in 1994. And I have been staying here in Dorji for the last 3 years.
There isn't much of a Tibetan community in the small town of Trichy in the state of Tamil Nadu. And that suits Georgie in his studies for a degree in English literature.
Actually, I myself prefer to go somewhere where there is not Tibetan, because I'm really much interested to improve my English. Because if I land up in a place where there is more Tibetan, then I started speaking Tibetan with them, right? So I found Tirchi.
Tibet was effectively taken off the map in the 1950s, when China sent in troops to enforce its claim over the country. Following the invasion, thousands of Tibetans left and crossed the border into India, choosing to live in exile rather than under Chinese rule. In subsequent decades, many more like Dorji himself were to follow.
When I was in Tibet, right, and I was too young to take any decision like that, right? It's whatever happened coming from Tibet to India, all decisions are taken by my parents. And then my family, we went to a Tibetan Lama and make him to predict my future. And then regarding to him, what is the best for me is that to go to India and study, right? And that's why my parents sent me to India, and right now I'm studying here. Yes, I'm the only person here in India, right? And actually we are a very small family members, right? We have my parents and little younger brother, that's all. And except me, other family members, they're back in Tibet.
Dorji came to India when he was 9 years old. He has been living in exile for most of his life.
I was so much envy about those people, Indian people, my friends. I think that how happy these guys are, because after finishing their college, they can go back to their house, they can meet their family, sister, everything, right? But I didn't enjoy that opportunity for the last 15 years. I never used to think about my family here, because the more I think about them, the more emotionally I got hurt. I go for playing football, that's better.
Much further to the north, on the outskirts of the Indian capital, New Delhi, we meet another participant in the Tibetan Olympics. Young Chen Palmo lives in one of India's largest Tibetan settlements, Majnugatila.
मजनूगटीला यहाँ तो ये एक कॉलोनी है ना, टिबेटन कॉलोनी। यहाँ सिर्फ टिबेटन लोग नहीं रहते हैं यहाँ पर। चाइना ने वो तिब्बत को कैप्चर किया था, उस टाइम में टिबेटन सब इंडिया में आए थे। 200 घर रहता था यहाँ पे। फिर इसके बाद में 1-2 साल के बाद में फिर ज़्यादा टिबेटन आने लगे, और अब तो बहुत ज़्यादा हो गया यहाँ पर तो टिबेटन। ये है मेरा होम, स्वीट होम। ऊपर में रहते हैं। मेरा एक दिन का डिस्क्राइब किया जाए तो शॉर्ट में सुबह उठती हूँ, फिर घर पर थोड़ा काम, घर साफ करो, ये वगैरह करो, एक हाउसवाइफ की तरह होता है।
In contrast to Dorji, young Chen is a third-generation exile. Like her mother before her, she was born in India and has lived here all her life.
पहला लैंग्वेज तो मैं हिंदी था। मेरे मम्मी इंडिया में पले बड़े हैं, तो हिंदी ही भाषा यूज़ करते हैं। तो ज़्यादातर हम लोग पहले तो हम लोग घर पर हिंदी बोलते थे। तो ऐसे तो मम्मी समझते हैं, टिबेटन वगैरह सब समझती है, मगर थोड़ा मुश्किल होता है इसको प्रोनाउंसिएशन ये करने में, तो कभी कभी नर्वस फील हो जाती है। तो हम लोग ज़्यादातर मम्मी से हिंदी भाषा बोलते हैं। हाँ, इसी के कारण लग रहा है कि हमें यहाँ में पले बड़े हुए हैं, तो जो टिबेटन यहाँ पे यूज़ किया जा रहा है सिर्फ यही जानते हैं हम लोग। और अगर मैं तिब्बत में पैदा होता तो हम तो सब लैंग्वेज जान जाते हैं।
In a few weeks, Dorji will be competing in the Tibetan Olympics. He cannot compete in the games in Beijing because his country is no longer recognized by the international community.
Took part in an international level sports, first requirement is that you should be an independent nation, right? Then it comes to second requirement, your performance, everything like that. But first we don't have that, first requirement is not with us. We don't have any identity. This is the only reason why we are not able to take part in international sports events like that.
अगर मैं हम लोग पार्टिसिपेट भी कर रहे तो हम लोग चाइना की तरफ से पार्टिसिपेट हो जाएंगे, क्योंकि ये तिब्बत में कैप्चर किया हुआ है, तो हम लोग ये नहीं करना चाहते हैं। उन लोगों के अंडर में तो हम लोग स्पोर्ट्स नहीं खेल नहीं सकते, खेलना भी नहीं चाहते हैं। हम लोग पॉलिटिक्स खेल रहा है या कुछ कर रहा है उसके बारे में कभी सोचते नहीं हैं। बस एक है कि बस तिब्बत के लिए और तिब्बत आज़ाद के लिए हम लोग ये सोच के हम लोग आवाज़ लगाते हैं। जितना बार पकड़ो, जितना बार छोड़ो, एक शब्द बोलना है हम लोग को, फ्री तिब्बत। जो हम लोग कर रहे हैं अपने तिब्बत के बारे में या अपने देश के लिए, वो तो हम लोग तो करते रहेंगे। अब कोई सुने या नहीं सुने, ये तो उन लोग के ऊपर है। जैसे हम एक स्पोर्ट्स वुमेन है, मेरी तरफ से लगता है कि एक स्पोर्ट्स एक ज़रिया है कि खेपटा सारी दुनिया को खेपटा करने के लिए होता है। अब धर्मशाला में मिलेंगे 3 दिन के बाद में ओलंपिक ओलंपिक में मिलेंगे।
The Tibetan Olympics will take place here, in the town of McLeodganj in Dharamshala. Nestled in the Himalayan mountains of northern India, it is the residence of the Dalai Lama and the Tibetan government in exile. This is where the participants will be for the next 10 days. It's a place Dorji knows well. He spent the first 10 years of his life in exile here.
There are lots of reasons why I love McLeod. And one reason, we find lots of Tibetans here. And I can meet lots of Tibetan. I got lots of friends here. And especially these older people, when I see these people, right? And as if I'm staying somewhere in my own country. In terms of atmosphere, environment, there are lots of similarity with Tibet. We can experience snowfalls during the winter, very thick snowfalls, and we got lots of these pine trees. And just backside of McLeod, you see the big Himalayan hills. When I come back to McLeod, I feel, what should I say, safe really. I feel safe, and here in exile, this is home for me.
Join me after the break as the competition comes to a head.